Be silent. That's the name of the page I finished. In comics, problems tend to get resolved with kicks and punches, but I don't want that in my work. Instead of a fight, why not use your words? The old saying goes, the pen is mightier than the sword. With that in mind, let's break down the creative process for this comic page. Let's start with some context for this page. The Ferrywoman anointed Natsumi a goddess, but then the Ophanum was sent by the kingdom to deliver a simple message. Your judgment is denied. The child should cease to be. He harasses them endlessly about this. And at last the Ferrywoman, tired of this creature, rebukes him, and that's where this comic begins. Let's talk about the Ferrywoman. She's an elder god, and to me it means she speaks and acts differently. Her stature, she's tall and elegant, and just a bit off. Her language is poetic and Shakespearean. These traits shape how I write her, and to be fair, it's a challenge, but one I really enjoy. My original plan for this page was going to be a fight. That's why I brought backup for the Ophanum. Angels would be the foot soldiers, and they'd fight Natsumi and the Ferrywoman. But I realized there was far-reaching consequences for that, and ones I didn't want to keep dealing with in the latter parts of the story. Over the course of writing Magical Girl Kamiko, I've shied away from ending every confrontation with a fight. Sometimes, yes, but it would be more fun to have a different way to end a story. So, how does the Ferrywoman end a fight? She's already lamented about violence begetting violence, so it doesn't make sense for her to pull out a scythe and reap these creatures. She's Shakespearean, an elder god. What about a verbal takedown, like a diss track? It needed to be scathing enough that the Ophanum would simply pack up and peace out. And it would be a nice way to bookend One of Us, since it started with a poem from the Ferrywoman. A bit of real-world inspiration for this was Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. I vaguely knew he had a beef with Drake, but I didn't know the details. I don't keep up with music, so the first time I heard Not Like Us was during the halftime show for the Super Bowl. Now 2 months later, it's a thought in the back of my mind, and when I approached writing this page, it bubbled back up. I began to write as I often do, by the seat of my pants, piecing together what the Ferrywoman was going to say. I enjoyed writing couplets in her purple prose, but it wasn't getting me anywhere. What was she trying to say? I stepped back and wrote down a more digestible list of what I wanted her monologue to include, and I shaped my writing around that. I also wanted to create unconventional rhymes. That's a small bit of inspiration I took from Eminem. There's a video of him discussing how you could rhyme orange in interesting ways, and I wanted to try something like that. And those ideas drove me to write. After a few hours I had something I liked, and hey, it's a webcomic, it doesn't have to be perfect. Her monologue incorporates a lot of ideas. There's a bit of world building and character lore. It's personal for the Ferrywoman because she knows the Ophanum and his king. In her takedown, she insults the Ophanum's king a lot with silly imagery and wordplay. She insults the Ophanum too. And then at the very end, the mic drop. A very final sounding ultimatum if he doesn't go away. Be creative instead of being silent. What's a bold creative choice you've made? What's inspired you? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories, and who knows, maybe you'll inspire someone here. Till next time.